Oh, sorry guys, didn't see you there. What's up guys, in today's daily financial market news, most markets are more positive and upbeat today. This came on the back of reports in the Asia Pacific session with the fact that the US and China had potentially come to an agreement to remove the tariffs and move forward on the phase one deal. This came on the back of quite a complicated week where we have had ups and downs and also two new all-time highs in the S&P 500. For instance, in today's session, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 0.5%, and also the S&P 500 is up 0.45%. Earlier, it broke all-time highs again at the 3091 level before falling back a little today. Also in the session, we saw Nasdaq follow a similar trend as the kind of North American session came online, and investors remained much more positive. In the Asia equities market, things are more positive also. The FTSE 100 had a little rally after the Bank of England meeting, which we will discuss in a short while. Also in the session, we saw the German 30 more positive as the European yields kind of bounced across the board. Also in the Asia Pacific session, things were quite positive as you would expect after the news reports did come out. The ASX 200 was up more than 1% on the day. This is quite a significant move, as usually it is quite a quiet mover. Also in the session, we saw the Nikkei 225 up on the day also. In terms of equities, things were more positive as you would expect with indices and a more global positive picture in the market today. In terms of the major movers, Apple was up 1.5% on the day, and so too was Facebook. This came after the share price was a little lower in pre-trading, but bounced back as trading resumed. Also in the session, we saw Nvidia up 0.9% on the day. This came on the back of a more positive tone in the market after a kind of mixed week for the share price. Next week will be quite interesting with the earnings report out. Also, in terms of commodities, things are a little more upbeat across the market today. For instance, copper was up 1.2% after having quite a difficult month in October and possibly bouncing back towards November and December as the season trend continues. Also in the session, we saw WTI and Brent crude both positive on the day, quite a significant move, up 2% across the board. This came on the back of the the oil price falling more than 2% yesterday on the US reports of a more weaker demand and too much supply. Not forgetting in the session was gold, which kind of struggled as you'd expect with more positive tones in the market, down today 0.45%. This will be quite a key watch as it's kind of remained below the $1,500 level. A move without breaking the 1,500 could mean a larger move lower. Illustrated in the chart in front of us, we can see that the gold price had been following an uptrend but did fall below when it broke below the $1,500 level. We can now see that it's kind of following a confused trend, or I would say sideline trend, kind of without any clear direction. However, a move below the 1480 could mean a larger move towards 1400. This will be quite key to watch as gold has become kind of overcrowded in the recent months. Moving on to bond yields, things were much more positive today as you would expect with the reports coming out and more buoyancy in the global market. For instance, the US 2-year and 10-year was up more than 2%, with the 10-year up more than 5% on the day. This is quite a significant move, being that the US 10-year and 2-year don't relatively move that much without any significant movers. Also in the session, we saw the German yields quite mixed. The 2-year yield was down 2%, however the 10-year yield was up more than 15%. This is quite a significant move also. This is quite a key to watch out and keep an eye on it, as although it's in negative territory, it could move towards positive if things do continue to improve. Not forgetting is the UK yields. This was quite mixed, although we did have a positive start to the session with the Bank of England meeting where the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee members were much more dovish. We did see that the 2-year yield did fall on potential rate cut. However, the 10-year was up more than 5% on more global market positivity. Not forgetting is the FX sphere. Things were quite quiet in the session apart from the pound, as you'd expect, with the Bank of England turning a little more dovish. For instance, the euro dollar was literally flat on the day with little movement. In terms of the pound dollar, it was down 40 points towards the 128 level. This will be quite key to watch as a break below the 128 could mean that we could see a larger move lower towards the 1.25 level and potentially 1.24 on the election drama and a more dovish Bank of England. Also in the session, we saw the US dollar Canadian a little weaker as you'd expect with oil up 2%. We also saw the US dollar Japanese yen. This was a little stronger on the day with more positive tones in the market. One final thing to note is the US dollar Chinese yuan, which was down 345 points below the $7 region. This will be quite key to watch as if the reports are true, we should see, I should say, a larger move lower with the US and China creating an essential currency trade pact on the phase one deal. That's all for today guys, thank you so much and have an awesome day.